Hey, welcome back to my performance engineering video series. It's been a few weeks since my last video. I got kind of stuck on this entity interaction map a little bit. This is going to be a part 2 on just the entity interaction map. I'm going to show you kind of some of the updates and some of the kind of new features. And then we'll get into what's coming next. So you remember the performance engineering module here is going to have these 4 pillars: mapping, platform and tools, processes, and automation. We're still into pillar number 1, the mapping. And the mapping has the two steps: the entity interaction map that looks at all the relationship of what interacts with your assets. That could be like all your contractors, your all the equipment. And then the metrics is more like what drives revenue and drives cost, and how do you boil everything down to the metrics you need to measure. So we're going to do this next once we have the entity interaction map kind of all wrapped up. And in the last video, we showed kind of a first draft of that entity relation map. I've done an update to it where I've added actually templates of bunch of documents that you should derive from the entity interaction map. The idea is like you do this document, you do the mapping first, gives you a good understanding of all the interaction, and then from there you derive your keys, standard operating procedures, kind of the context that you need to just as an asset manager or performance engineer run your site. So things like a contact register, data enter first register, escalation, communication plan, your key KPIs, your monthly reporting, what you're going to want to report to whom, maybe your outage and availability reporting procedures, roles and responsibility matrix. Maybe it shows all the different contractual relationship, and then maybe like settlements, reconciliation, how you're going to like at the end build your monthly kind of P&L statements, and then all your warranty obligation. This is kind of a set of like kind of starter tools, and the idea is like really the entity interaction map is like the source of truth for all this. It actually does describe all this, but it's a big map, so then you just gonna section it down into these documents. A big purpose for this is context for your team, obviously, but also context for maybe AI agents that will work with you on this. You need to understand all these interactions. So all this is get built as context and will be very useful in future steps when you start automating things with AI. All this is provided as open source under the Libre Energy performance engineering repo. I'm going to just jump into it. So the link here doesn't work, but the QR code is good. You could scan this. You could just Google Libre Energy BESS performance engineering. Should take us to your GitHub, where we have the entity interaction map in this folder, and then we have folders for all the these other templates like the contact register. Just show this quickly, but just templates that you could then fill. And we also have actually built in a bunch of AI agent skills that you could use. Once the idea is really you should just focus on building the entity interaction map. Then you could ask an AI agent using the skills that are provided here to actually go and fill in the contacts list. So there's a template of the contact list, but we're not really expecting you to go and fill it in. It's based on the map and all the links you've created to rebuild all these documents. So the process would be you copy this, you clone this repo. You'd probably have one version of this for each of your project. Jump into the entity interaction map, which is really this mermaid diagram here. And then we'll zoom in, we'll walk through this. Rename, reconnect, you could use this as a starting point. This is like utility scale BESS. But if you're in like ERCOT or CAISO, MISO, like you might want to change things depending if you have like a tolling agreement, a PPA. There's a few things on how you contracted the project that you would adjust. Then you go back and ask your AI agent. That could be Claude, it could be Codex. Copilot to just go and build the rest of the documents. Like all the context on how to do this is in here, in the agent skills, and then all the templates on how to actually make these diagrams or these documents are in here. So it'd be very easy for the agent to build this. The other thing we did is the entity interaction map is embedded into this document as a mermaid diagram, but we're also going to provide it, and we're going to try to keep it in sync. The source of truth is really this one here, but we'll try to keep one that has public access here on Lucid Charts. So you could click on this, and we're going to look at this one. We could actually I'll put a link in the blog, in the post, that takes you directly to this. So here you can we're going to be able to zoom in and then explore this. And then if you actually click in it, you'll see the whole mermaid diagram, which you can actually just edit. Well, you won't be able to edit this one. You can copy this, put it into your own mermaid type editor, and then make the edits yourself. I'll close this for now. So everything going to revolve around the battery asset owner. Every time I click on it, it's going to take this. We got the landowner here. So the dark lines are the contractual relationship. So maybe we'll start from the right inside here. So yeah, you can see we have maybe an APM, like this is maybe an asset battery analytics provider. The green are all companies. The purple are data source, I believe. The blue are assets. So you got your asset manager here. There's an optimizer. There's investors, lender, insurer on this side of things. An off-taker, kind of the revenue counterparty, like who is actually paying you. There's an accounting platform here that's tied to the asset manager. There's like ledgers going back and forth between maybe your APM platform. And then you got the grid and market interface. And it might not be going in the right kind of order here, but things related to the grid, like there's an ISO, there's a transmission operator, there's a settlement system, there's an outage management system. You'll have market data for your bids. There's a trading and award system. Then you're gonna have a schedule coordinator. There's someone authorized to place these bids. So your optimizer might be a different party. Maybe it's the same party in your case, and then you could just have one box. So there we're still in the kind of market. The asset is on this box here. So you got your BESS assets, get your battery enclosures, your string BMS, your master BMS. Kind of shows you everything that's gonna provide data. This won't probably be going into these templates like your well, maybe to some extent you want to know who is in charge of the battery controller, like the inverter. And you're going to see this is important to draw all this up, because when you get into the LTSA, there's things like spare parts that you want to make sure they exist. So identifying kind of all the key components here, your PCS, your inverter module, your transformer, your HV protection equipment. There's going to be an energy management system and a power plant controller. Could be two different things. There's likely also like a controller at there's always an inverter controller, but there might be another battery controller that's attached to the inverter controller. There's always a grid RTAC, like that could be like your rig in KAISO. In ERCOT, it's different kind of device that the grid interacts with directly. So if you follow this line here, I'll take you straight to the transmission and grid operator. There might be one line that goes to the ISO, like KAISO or ERCOT, and one to the grid, like the transmission operator. There's a point of interconnection with revenue meters. we want to make sure that these assets on blue, they have spare parts, that if there's a problem, you're going to want to make sure that all these key assets have a service agreement, or you have these warranties in the service agreement. If things fail, there's someone like on standby that's ready to go and fix them. So that's why you want to make sure you identify things like this: the auxiliary station service, auxiliary service, the O&M building, your control room. That might be, those are still kind of important. You might have your EMS in there, some control equipment. And then here we have actually, from the grid RTAC, we could list your ISO telemetry points. Those are the key things that you're going to have to provide to the transmission operator or the ISO. Yeah, at some point you have to draw a line going too deep into the matrix, and that would be the kind of the second phase of this, is to build actually a list of all the metrics that interact with the commercial performance of the site. So yeah, this is the BESS, and then we have all the contractors that are actually doing the operations and O&M the site. So you got we got a BESS, long-term service provider or O&M provider. So you might have field technician, you got a remote operation center, they would have a CMMS system, a computerized maintenance management system. Then you got your battery OEM, your PCS OEM, and your EMS OEM. Each of them have there's a warranty, there might be a service agreement, they might have a ticketing system. So you want to understand this, and you want to figure out who do they have a commercial relationship with. Are they contracted directly by the LTSA provider or by you? We also have here a substation LTSA provider. The BESS and the substation could be two different agreements. If that's the case, there might be substations. Well, there'll be substation spares. So it's very important to map all this out. There is the original EPC contractor that might have a warranty. The same with the substation. If there's a problem on the substation, a design problem, who has the relationship to contact the engineer of record. So make sure that this is all mapped so we understand, actually put some names, who they are. There's always going to be a appointed generator operator, GO, this maybe it's a term for the US, a NERC term. There must be a ticketing system where different parties can actually interact. This is how you're going to have to figure out, how is the optimizer interacting with maybe the remote operation center if they notice a problem, who talks to whom. You can start drawing lines. And so you want to start drawing lines as much as you can and putting description in them. So when we then build the roles and responsibility, your AI agent can go and scan all this and then understand the relationships. So this could be a process, a kind of work you need to do in a meeting room with different key parties that work around the asset. That could be your asset manager or some engineers, commercial people, business people, and really map this as much as you can, and then start drafting the other documents. So you can find all this in the Git repo. And once that's done, then we'll move into the second part. That's the matrix tree. That's more related to how you would start measuring the performance of all these different interactions. So we'll leave it at this. Let me know if you have issue getting into the GitHub. Feel free to add comments to the chart here, add comments in GitHub. Just let me know what you think about all this. And then we'll see you in the next video where we're going to start talking about matrix tree. Maybe we'll do one or two parts for that too. All right. Cheers.